Hold on. Here we go. Okay. Hello, I am Katie Bignell, and
Brooke Davis.
Oh, sorry. What was your name?
Brooke Davis.
And we are part of Team 7, and we will be chatting about how our service project has been going. So we'll start with the first question. What specific service are you providing for your community partner? So we are working with Habitat for Humanity of the Quad Cities. They do restoration projects on homes as well as build new homes. And so we have been helping with getting a new home ready for the ownership. What would you like to add, Brooke?
I guess what we've been doing is painting, basically. That's or like construction type work for the house. And we've got to meet the homeowner. And as far as hours that we've logged so far, we've hit about 5 hours, and this has been trickier than I would have originally thought because they generally have all the volunteers they need, so it's tricky getting in or we're available but they're full, and we've actually had to race to like click in time to become a volunteer. So surprising that they have that many volunteers in Davenport. I mean, I guess it's a good thing. And I know they were saying in the next coming years, they're going to add more projects, which by the sounds of things, that's something that they probably can do because there's a big list of volunteers ready to serve. So.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that too. When Brooke and I first attended our information meeting, that we kind of learned about what is Habitat for Humanity, what do they do in the community. I kind of was like, oh, they have, 6 homes going right now. Wow, it's going to be easy to find hours and be able to help out with all kinds of different projects. And I went to sign up for the first weekend and was like, there's no spaces available. Maybe it's just, they're only working a couple houses, and so they don't need us this weekend, that kind of thing. So after a little bit of time, it kind of became evident, like, oh, we really have to rush to actually get hours. They have a lot of groups that participate in a home build, so they all want to be together. So sometimes it's hard to just find like 1 or 2 slots for people to actually help out. So the first one that we did was painting, as Brooke said. That is kind of a project that's later on in the actual process. So the actual walls were up, the sheetrock was done. They just needed the first coat of paint done so that they can start moving forward with light fixtures and getting the toilets installed and all of that kind of stuff. So they really needed a lot of hands on deck for that one. But also along with that, when you have a lot of people, it doesn't take as long. So we had expected, we were going to be painting trim and we were going to be painting walls and ceilings and things like that. And because of the amount of people that they had, and also they didn't have the trim ready to go, we were only there for 4 hours. So that was kind of a bummer. We wanted to be there a lot longer and be able to do a lot more service for that. But we only really kind of got a little amount of time. Our hope is with the next upcoming weekends that we can find a couple projects that are maybe outside now that the weather is a little nicer, that we can maybe work on a little bit more, whether it is helping put up the siding or doing some gardening outside, maybe helping with load-in, things like that. So we're really, really hoping that we can help our partners out. Let's see here. So what have we learned so far? I would say that it's wonderful that there are so many people that want to help out with Habitat for Humanity. Darn them, we need our hours. But also that we were able to work with the actual homeowner of the house. And then there were a couple other homeowners of other houses that are getting ready that were also present. So being able to chat with them and just kind of learn their stories. What did you learn, Brooke?
Yeah, I think that it's a big thing is it's not only it's challenging to get the hours, it's challenging to like find the hours. And that's always been my problem. I always want to volunteer. I have my own nonprofit that I do, so that consumes some time. But like it is so hard to work in hours at this schedule. Like I am glad we took this course ahead of time before we got going full time in nursing, because wow, it would be a challenge to do this with like 5 other classes. So that's I think finding time to volunteer is a big challenge. And I guess it was also a lot more fun than I thought. I mean, it's painting. It's not my favorite thing to do. I love construction, but I'm more one that work with a power tool. So so painting wasn't like when I heard it, I was like, oh, it's going to be a long, boring day. But it was actually pretty fun, and you got to know people. Like she said, we met the future owner of the house, super nice guy. And they're very, very appreciative. Very appreciative of any help, all the help. And I didn't really feel like that we did all that much. I guess I was like, well, don't be looking at me. Somebody else built the rest of the house. But I mean, they really are appreciative for any little hour of work to, whatever you do, they're really appreciative. And I was not really expecting that. I guess I knew that the owner might be there, but I guess I didn't expect them. You just expect them to show up when the house is done kind of thing. But they are a lot more involved with Habitat than I thought they would be as far as being there on the job site. And that was kind of neat.
Yeah, I guess just kind of going off of one of your comments, it's amazing how many pieces of a puzzle the house actually is, and how every little teeny piece of the puzzle comes together to actually make the whole house. So I felt kind of the same way of like, well, we're just painting. I mean, it's white. It's not like a really fun, bright color. But when we started, I mean, the walls were just mudded and taped, and just being able to see that, and then the end product of, yeah, it's only white paint, but it's a start, which means that we can now move on to the next step of installing other things, which are then going to bring the home together. When you have light fixtures, when you can be able to see the flooring done. So that was kind of fun to even see, like, even though it was a tiny little piece of the puzzle, it still helped towards the end game. So that was kind of cool. Okay, so last question. How has our service learning project expressed and developed our service leadership? Do you want to go first?
Sure. So one of the big things I think is being involved in like part of building something. It really helps you, like you say, see where your piece of the puzzle is. Like that every person makes a difference. So when you're in leadership, you realize, hey, the janitor makes a difference. Like in healthcare, the nurses make a difference, the doctors, all the way to the CEO. And you can kind of see when you're building a house that how important each step is. Whereas like in a hospital environment, or if you're in leadership, you're sometimes taken back from like the daily routine, and you're in an office separate from everything. You don't really see that. So kind of just reminds you that, hey, every spot is really, really important. And so if you have to go cut spots or do that, you're seeing that's somebody's job, that's somebody's spot, that's important, it just kind of reminds you that it takes a team, to get a project done. So it kind of just helps that way. And then, like I said before, it's rewarding when you're helping someone. So I guess it's, even as a leader, your part is important, where sometimes I think when you're taken out of the helping the patient feel better, like when you're out of that process, I think sometimes you get burnt out real quick because you don't see what you're contributing to, but you are, in fact, even as a leader, even if you're not physically helping someone or the patient, you are involved in keeping that process going. So it's kind of nice to sometimes immerse yourself into the patient care so you can be reminded kind of that you're part of a bigger thing, kind of thing. So when it comes to leadership, I think that's real important. Kind of like the homeowner we were talking to, he said, like, he made the comment of, now we each have a handprint on the house because we were painting the wall, you know, our handprint will be on that wall forever. That's kind of the same way in leadership. You have to kind of remember that, like you say, every step is a piece of the puzzle. So you're just kind of reminded that overall, everyone's making a difference. So.
Mm-hmm. So true. Yeah, I think for me, kind of along the same lines, sometimes I need to remember that a leader is not necessarily the big person up in charge. A leader can be just spending time, devoting yourself to others, devoting yourself to things that don't concern you necessarily. And that just being able to give your time, give your abilities, you know, to somebody that doesn't have the same kinds of resources or privileges, that can be a leader in its own right of being able to just give to others. I think for me, it was nice to kind of take a little bit of a step back. So we weren't the ones who were saying, hey, this needs to be painted and this is how it needs to be painted. We were kind of followers in that way of just, you know, listening to what the project leaders were saying and how they wanted things done. But also listening to the homeowner, since ultimately that was going to be his house. So, you know, being able to say, show me around the house, show me where your kids are going to be living, show me where you're going to have your family garden, show me where your family meals are going to be. That was really fun to be able to kind of take that step back and not necessarily take that well-known leadership step and not be the one in charge. I think for me, I really enjoy that because I've been in leadership positions in the past, kind of being the one saying, hey, this is the path that we're going to be going. And it's refreshing to kind of take that step back and follow and say, where do you need me? What can I best do to serve you, but not necessarily always be in that leadership role. I think also just kind of thinking about leadership within the community, there's a lot of different little things within the Quad Cities that bring the Quad Cities together as a whole. And being able to see that house on that block, and the block is not the best block. There's some rundown houses, there's some newer houses, being able to see how that house is going to then impact that community and that neighborhood, to me was really, really cool to see that, you know, Habitat kind of identified, hey, we want to start improving that community. And one way that we can do that is through starting or building a house and then kind of going out from there. So as we were painting, I was kind of, you know, looking out the window and seeing, you know, kind of the neighbors, and neighbors are stopping by and like looking and kind of seeing what does it look like? What is, what's the whole deal going on? So that was kind of cool to see how this house is going to be kind of a leader within its own community. So hopefully, I know that there was a Habitat house that was like 2 blocks over. So hopefully that can kind of start revitalizing the neighborhood, bringing in some people to do improvements on other people's houses that might not have the resources to do improvements on their own house. So yeah, I think that was kind of cool. Any kind of last thoughts that you want to share, Brooke?
Not a whole lot. I think we've been saying, it's a struggle to get the hours in. I'm excited to keep volunteering. And I'm hopeful that we can get that all wrapped up, or if there's even a remodel project that we'd have to go on, or a different house too, that would that would be kind of fun. I think it'd be neat to see how a remodel would go because, like you said, that leads into like the community leadership there because they're going in and redoing houses that already exist, so an uplift in the community. So I think that would be a fun experience too if we got a chance to do one of the remodels as well.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited to see what our next project is going to be. Hopefully we can get a couple more, at least 2 more projects in before the end of the class. And then we'll have more experience to be able to kind of point on in our final project. So that is all that we have today. We hope that you enjoy. Bye.